Alright, so welcome everyone, and here in this lesson, we'd like to finally wrap up with the simulation process of the dusty fluids, and we'd like to discuss with some few more points so that would be easier for you to take them in the rendering process. Well, as you notice that we have already rotated the container for the fluid along the X, which is the 90 degree that I've already put it. So for that, I need to also work a little bit differently on the lighting section of the fluids. As we go down towards the directional light attributes, you notice that I have changed them from -1.8 to -1, what I remember. Just for the demonstration purpose, if you do have values like this, maybe minus negative, you're going to see that the fluids are looking much, much better. But since we have already rotated our container, so it won't going to work in that way. So what I need to do is that for the final rendering purpose, I have to change the directional light attributes. Uh, one will going to be remain there for the x-axis, but for the y, we need to give 0.1 and the z will remain 1. All right. So this will going to be our final setup for the lighting purpose. All right. One another important thing is that under the shading quality, you have noticed that I have changed the render interpolator, which is by default linear, from render interpolator linear to the smooth, and the quality I have set that thing to 1.5. Well, if we do not do that, we're going to end up with some, you can see that kind of the squarish form of the voxels, which are obviously not good to see. And what I do that, I'm going to take the render in front of you, and then we're going to show you with the comparison. So the render will going to take a little bit of the time, so I'm going to put that thing to the pause and then just coming back within a second. All right, so I came back. Now I've brought the two renders for your knowledge, and the one that we have, you could see that there's a lot of pixelation issues inside this, and of course the quality has been really bad, or is like a draft. This is why this is happening, because we have the render interpolator set to the linear, and I need to change that thing to the smooth, and the quality should end up to the 2. Now with this, we have got this render with really improved and much softer and nicer impact of the fluids. There is no doubt the significant change inside the rendering time. For the linear, it's taking hardly a minute, and with the quality set to 2, with the render interval set to the smooth, we do have 1 minute 45 seconds, but that's again not a problem. All just we need is that the proper smooth flow of the fluids, not some jittery kind of thing. Okay, so these were the final setup for your rendering. And of course, you may could also play along with some, you can say, RGB light pass or the direct light, and then we do have some inside lighting or the ambient light effect. But we're not going to cover that up in our course, because that's a separate talk of taking the render pass of the fluids. And of course, do not, forgot to, again, I'm, discussing with you the important attribute of the velocity, that is the noise, that will give you the nice crispier details. And also I promise that I'm going to show you up with the play blast. So here's a play blast of the previous lesson that we got, and you could see the wires are still being moving, and we do have the fluids. I also noticed one thing, that if it is required, you may again going to manipulate with the group of the fluids along with the container, as well with the emitter, since I think so that from the upside area the fluid will take a little bit more time to cover this negative space as well, because this was, I think so, for the frame 150. So we're going to begin with the resolution of 200 from our main simulations. So I recommend you that if in case you're going to find a lot of small area, or you may could say the negative area over here, so you may could like if we have the group size set to 4, you may go switch it to 4.5 to 5. Okay, so that's just all about this lesson, and I hope so that you must have got the idea as well as the concept of what I just trying to show in front of you. Now we are good to get started with the simulation process of the highly turbulent dusty winds that are blowing all across the streets. All right, so see you up in the next lesson.